Okay, today we will talk about agriculture. I will explain agriculture for those who may not know. Agriculture is the art and science of cultivating the soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. It includes the preparation of plant and animal products for people to use and the distribution to markets. Agriculture provides most of the world's food and fabrics. I am against agriculture as I am an anarcho-primitivist, and I will explain why I am against agriculture in this video, with me listing a few of my reasons. I may make a few videos about my anti-agriculture beliefs, as I don't think I can explain all my reasoning in one video, and I want to make more videos on this topic in the future. I will now begin to list a few of the reasons I have for being against agriculture. Reason number 1. Agriculture ruins the scenery of nature. Think of all the places in the countryside where you cannot walk because of fields of crops. We tear up mass amounts of land and plant seeds that spawn ugly as sin crops. Thanks to mechanised farming, we have acres and acres of land that looks hideous and unsightly. Think of all the forests we could have. Think of all the fields we could walk on freely if it was not privately owned and covered in crops. Like industry, agriculture looks bad. I actually consider agriculture a form of industry. The sight of agriculture is depressing. It's unnatural, artificial. It completely ruins the scenery and atmosphere of nature. Now on to reason 2. Agriculture ruins land and kills off mass numbers of animals. Agriculture kills mass numbers of animals thanks to pesticide and machinery. The pesticide also affects the food we eat. Even with natural farming, the soil is torn up from the ground, ruining everything. It disturbs the earth, and has always in history been one of the top causes for deforestation. 91% of Amazon destruction is due to agricultural expansion. Agriculture disturbs natural wildlife. Think of all the massive, ancient trees humanity destroyed thanks to agriculture. Since the agricultural age, we have been destroying ancient wildlife. Okay, reason number 3. Agriculture destroyed our health. This point is going to take longer for me to explain, so bear with me. Pre-agricultural humans were taller, stronger and healthier than farming peoples, as evidenced by their bones and teeth, which showed virtually no signs of disease whatsoever. For example, they say gatherer-hunter skeletons from Greece and Turkey were half a foot taller than the agricultural descendants from 3000 BC. Native American skeletons from the Ohio and Illinois river valleys demonstrate major health changes that occurred when the gatherer-hunter population there gave way to agriculture around 1150 AD. The results after giving way to agriculture was a nearly 50% increase in enamel defects, indicating malnutrition, a 4-fold increase in iron deficiency anemia, a 3-fold rise in bone lesions, reflecting infectious disease in general, and an increase in degenerative conditions of the spine, probably reflecting a lot of hard physical labour. Now I will list 3 reasons as to why agriculture was a terrible move for human health. 1. Heavy dependence on grains and other starchy crops. The agricultural diet is based primarily on high carbohydrate, low nutrient density crops like grains and potatoes, while the gatherer-hunter diet was comprised of a more varied mix of wild plants and animals, providing a better balance of nutrients. The agricultural revolution provided cheap calories at the cost of poor nutrition. Today, just 3 starchy plants, wheat, rice and corn, provide the vast majority of the calories consumed by the human species. All 3 are deficient in vitamins and amino acids essential to life. 2. Monocropping leads to crop failure and mass starvation. Dependent on a much smaller number of crops than gatherer-hunters, farmers ran the risk of starvation even if one crop failed. Finally, 3. Higher population density encouraged epidemic disease. Agriculture encouraged people to clump together in crowded societies, leading to the spread of parasites and infectious diseases. Some archaeologists think it was crowding rather than agriculture that promoted disease. But this is a chicken and egg argument, as crowding encourages agriculture and agriculture encourages crowding. Epidemics couldn't take hold when populations were scattered in small bands that constantly shifted camp. Tuberculosis and diarrheal disease had to await the rise of farming. Measles and the bubonic plague had to await the appearance of large cities. Today, primitive humans are proven to be stronger and healthier than humans raised in agricultural societies. Now on to number 4 on my list of reasons. Agriculture destroyed egalitarianism. Besides malnutrition, starvation, and epidemic infectious diseases, farming helped bring another curse upon humanity, that being deep class divisions. Because hunter-gatherers were nomadic, they did not store food. They ate and shared whatever food they obtained each day, with no granaries or silos, or other concentrated food sources like orchards or herds of sheep. There was nothing to guard, protect, or fight over. Therefore, there could be no kings. No class of social parasites who grow fat on food seized from others. Only in a farming population could a healthy, non-producing elite set itself above the disease-ridden masses. Greek skeletons from 1500 BC indicate royals enjoyed a better quality diet than their subjects, as the royal skeletons were 2 or 3 inches taller and had better teeth, on average. 1 instead of 6 cavities or missing teeth. Chilean mummies from 1000 AD shows the elite were distinguished not only by ornaments and gold hair clips, but also by a 4-fold lower rate of bone lesions caused by disease. The nutritional inequality of agricultural societies still exists on a global scale today. To people in rich countries like the United States, it sounds ridiculous to extol the virtues of hunting and gathering. But Americans are an elite, dependent on oil and minerals that must often be imported from countries with poorer health and nutrition. If one could choose between being a peasant farmer in Ethiopia or a bushman gatherer in the Kalahari, which do you think would be the better choice? Farming encouraged inequality between the sexes too. Under pressure to produce more farmhands, agricultural women had far more children than hunter-gatherer women, who used the natural means of preventing or ending pregnancies, and in desperate cases infanticide. That occurred before their existing children were weaned and could walk long distances on their own. Birthing large numbers of children was inherently damaging to women's bodies, as evidenced by more bone lesions from infectious diseases than their male counterparts. Additionally, with agriculture came the concept of private property, and with that the idea of women as property. In order to ensure a man was working to provide for his own children and passing on his property to his own heirs, women's wombs also became man's property, locking them into monogamous marriage if they wanted to be able to feed themselves and their children. If you want a way to put it short, we can say with the advent of agriculture, an elite became better off, but most people became worse off. Now on to my final reason number 5. Agriculture destroyed our freedom and free time. In addition to better health and equality, hunter-gatherers had and still have far less work and far more leisure time than farmers, industrial labourers, and even white-collar workers on Wall Street. The bushmen of South Africa spend an average of only 12 to 19 hours a week obtaining food, which is about all hunter-gatherers need to do other than build an occasional new grass hut. It takes the Hasda of Tanzania less than 14 hours a week to feed themselves. And the quote, work of hunter-gatherers can hardly be considered work. In fact, most of them don't have a word for work in their languages and consider their work to be play. This is because their work is skill intensive, not labour intensive, does not take many hours, and is done with friends, when they feel like doing it, not when they are forced to do it. When a bushman was asked why his tribe did not take up agriculture like neighbouring tribes, he replied, quote, "Why should we, when there are so many minogo nuts in the world?" End of quote. Wild nuts, berries, fruits and roots can be consumed immediately after they are plucked, with no tilling, planting, fertilising, weeding, storing, preserving, cooking, etc., saving countless hours of labour. An animal killed by one hunter in a few hours could feed the entire tribe and perhaps a neighbouring tribe for days. When one person or tribe was not so lucky one day, he/they could count on another to feed him/them and vice versa. Without stored food to fight over, gatherer hunters shared everything for mutual assurance of survival. The lives of at least the surviving hunter-gatherers are nasty and brutish, even though farmers have pushed them into some of the world's worst real estate. So we can assume the lives of prehistoric gatherer-hunters, before they had to compete with ever-expanding agriculturalists for land and resources, were not nasty and brutish either. Archaeologists studying the rise of farming have reconstructed a crucial stage at which we made the worst mistake in human history, forced to choose between limiting population or trying to increase food production. We chose the latter and ended up with starvation, warfare, and tyranny. Many of the gatherer-hunters who did choose to keep their population in check to avoid the toil of agriculture have been forced into the lifestyle for the last 10,000 years, because agriculture encourages population growth, which encourages expansion into new territories, so farmers outbred gatherer-hunters and killed off those who wouldn't convert, because 100 malnourished farmers can still outfight one healthy hunter. And that covers the end of my list of reasons. I will now give a final statement and analysis before ending the video. For at least 2 million years, the human species thrived without agriculture. The lifestyle of gatherer-hunters was so sustainable, it's conceivable they could have gone on living in harmony and balance with all non-human life on the planet until the death of our nearest star. But our 10,000-year-long experiment with agriculture has set us so far back into poor health, slavery and environmental degradation, it is unclear whether we can ever recover.